Hello and welcome to episode 75 of the Gentle Business Revolution podcast, the show where we talk about marketing your business by disrupting the current marketing paradigm and changing it to a gentler approach, one that's based on empathy and kindness. I'm Sarah Znakroche, I'm the host here, and you know that you're in the right place if you are a heart-centered entrepreneur or change maker who is looking for a better way to market your business. Or you might also be someone that I call a marketing impact pioneer. So you are currently working in an organization who does business for good, and you question maybe the current marketing strategies that are applied in your business. So welcome to the second episode of a special week here on the Gentle Business Revolution podcast, a week to celebrate kindness. It's also the official worldwide Random Acts of Kindness week. So during this whole week, I'll be posting a daily episode to celebrate kindness. And I invited different people whom I see as representatives of kindness in business and talk to them how they see the role of kindness. These episodes are sponsored by the Gentle Marketing Revolution, the book that's now available for pre-sale on Amazon, and you can get it at thegentlemarketingrevolution.com/book or directly on Amazon. Besides always sharing 2 random acts of kindness, I'm also giving away a year-long membership to the Gentle Business Circle. And if you haven't heard me talk about the Circle yet, it's our community of gentle marketers where we discuss this new marketing and business paradigm on a monthly community call. This giveaway is an act of kindness of one of the participants of the Kickstarter earlier this year. Some people chose the Gentle Business Circle reward without needing the membership. They were friends and family, for example. And when I asked them, they happily offered to have me use their membership as a giveaway for this week. So make sure you listen till the end of this episode to find out how to apply for this free membership for the Circle. Today, I'm talking to Karen Zodinga and Tim Bramwell from seekindness.org. Karen and Tim are partners, along with 2 others, in See Kindness LLP, a social enterprise that believes that the world is kind. See Kindness exists to empower it. Their vision is to strengthen community resiliency, cultivate a safe space for positivity, and encourage vulnerability through the recognition of kindness and gratitude. They believe that kindness is tangible globally, so they want to, first of all, provide the tools to promote stories of kindness to motivate and improve people's lives everywhere. Second of all, partner with good people and companies who believe in kindness. And third of all, fearlessly protect and encourage kindness. See Kindness was created by a multi-generational team of talented business managers, strategists, designers, social media managers, and project managers who came together during the COVID-19 pandemic to counter the toxic stress we were experiencing. Most of their team became unemployed during the pandemic and wanted to use their skills to create something better. So without further ado, let's talk to Karen and Tim. Hello. I'm so delighted to have 2 guests today. So welcome, Karen. Welcome, Tim. I'm so excited to have you join this conversation around kindness.
And hello back to you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been, I'm looking forward to this conversation, but thank you for having us.
Yeah, really, really excited. I want to start off with saying that I actually don't remember how I found my way to your website. Oh no, I think I now do. It was in a group. I remember telling you about it, Karen, called the Bento Society. That is a group that I'm part of, launched by a man called Yancey Strickler, and he's in Vancouver, just like you guys. And so that's where someone posted something that you probably talked about, See Kindness. And so I came across your website. I'm like, oh yeah, I should talk to those guys. So here we are, a small world. So
yeah, it is a small world.
Yeah. Why don't you start, Karen, to kind of inform the audience what See Kindness is, what your mission is, and how this all started.
Do you know, I'm going to defer that to Tim, actually, to talk about what See Kindness is. Not that I don't know, but Tim's been doing all of these meetings with different businesses to talk about See Kindness, and he's got the patter down.
He's got the pitch.
Like,
awesome.
I've got the patter down. My God. All right. All right. Well, what is See Kindness? That's a very good question, because it's been a matter of internal debate for months. It's a new, I call it, social engagement platform. It's something that was born out of the COVID crisis. And at the very, very beginning of the COVID crisis, we knew that there was going to be a need for kindness, more kindness and gratitude in this world. We knew that the COVID crisis was already adding stress and tension onto people in ways that we really hadn't seen in a very, very long time. And certainly as the crisis and pandemic grew, we knew that it was something that was going to be taking effect on a more global basis. And definitely over a longer period of time. So we came to, this is a project that that I had been thinking about for a long, long time, probably about a year and a half before we actually got into it. But for whatever reasons, we weren't ready for it. And I don't think the world is ready for it in the same way. What we have learned since we started the project is that people are open to this, and it's more pervasive than any of us had really thought about. So we put together a team and started working on it, and we released our first version of this about July or August last year in 2020. It's hard for me to say that, but that's what it was, 20. And we've been going ever since. And it's basically a social engagement platform. We are originally, ostensibly, it was designed to capture acts of kindness around the world. But as we have grown the environment, we have realized that there are many, many other benefits. And particularly when we start looking at what I call the science of kindness, depending on who you talk to and what kind of research you look at, it's anywhere from 8 to 12 really good benefits of what kindness does with people, not only for the people who are initiating the acts of kindness, but also for the viewers, the recipients, and the viewers of that. And so we're now looking at how we can expand what we have done into other areas, still following the idea of providing the tools, I guess, for acts of kindness, but looking at how we can expand that a little bit right now. So it's a social engagement platform. It's a platform that we are going to be building out certainly over the next year or so, and hopefully longer than that. And its primary purpose is, as an organization, our primary purpose is to provide the tools for engaging with acts of kindness with people in a variety of different forms.
I'm just going to add one little thing to that, Tim. It's a place where people can come on and map an act of kindness on a map, either something you've done or something somebody has done for you, or just something you witnessed, you saw between other people. It's a place where you can come on a site, map the kindness, talk about how good it feels, because that's really the best part of See Kindness, and place a pin in a map. You can add photos, you can add video, you can, add emoji, and other users can like and comment on the acts of kindness as well.
Yeah.
I love that. So there's essentially 3 players, right? There's the one giving kindness, there's the one receiving, and then there's the external kind of viewer. It's interesting. I never thought of that, but that's so true. It's all the people who are maybe viewing the actual act of kindness, or the people who are just coming to your website for proof that there's acts of kindness happening all over the world.
Exactly.
And go ahead.
And what we know from the science of kindness is that just reading about somebody else's act of kindness is good for you. It not only just makes you feel good, but it's actually good for you. Your stress hormones get lowered when you read about it. You feel better when you read about it. It's Tim was telling me the other day, it's good for treating depression, right? So it's a wonderful, repository to read about and learn about kindness as well.
Yeah, it eases anxiety. It's good for your heart, right? It reduces stress. It helps to prevent illness. It slows aging. It's contagious. It makes for better relationships. I mean, there's nothing wrong with kindness. It's one of those ubiquitous things that go on in this world that, it's like drinking water, So.
Well, and it's better because it's more like what I like about it is apart from a lot of those things, which they're all good. Like no one's saying stop meditating, no one's saying stop exercising, all of that. But the beautiful thing about kindness is that it never feels bad to do it. Right. And it never feels bad to read about it. It's not one of those things where you're like, oh, I got to drag my ass to the gym. Right. You don't have that feeling about kindness. Kindness is just good. Like,
it's not on your to-do list.
Like exactly.
You need to add to your to-do list. Yeah.
Although I would argue it should be on someone's to-do list. I would argue that you should do one act. You should actually forcibly do one act of kindness every day.
Yeah. Let's say
I'm
mindfully.
sure I agree, because once it becomes a should, I'm not sure it feels the same. But we could argue about that.
Well, let's maybe if we spin it a little bit and say, we should try to be mindful to do at least one act. And the other thing that we've noticed around this is that kindness is all around. Like people they want to try to be kind, recent events notwithstanding. But we don't tend to notice our own acts of kindness. Even we kind of, and it just kind of, we've done a lot of research, and we've talked to a lot of, on the user research side, we've talked to a lot of people about this by now. And whenever we talk to people about acts of kindness they've done for somebody else, they have a hard time remembering.
Yeah.
But when, right. And when it's acts of kindness done for them, they immediately go to something that really made them feel good. And we think if you can notice the things that you're doing yourself for other people, those small acts of kindness, you're going to start to change that definition of yourself as to being a kind person. You're going to think of yourself in better ways, which of course is better for your mental health and everything else, right? So maybe it's not forcibly push yourself, but maybe the phrase there is to be mindful about the acts of kindness that you do, and to notice them and look at them. And of course, please post them on seekindness.org. We would love that.
The plug.
Of course. But that's what it's there for. We know that if you start to see yourself that way, you start to feel better too.
Yeah, and Karen led that excellent research. She's been really great about the research side of it, and so she's telling you about that. But I would also add, there is, if you actually go to the site, there are the acts of kindness that we see on the site are really powerful stories. And there's people, there's stories about people losing parents. One of the ones I read recently was about their mom, and somebody she went into some kind of store. I think it was in the UK. She went into a store and someone gave her some perfume that really associated with her mother. Those stories are really, really powerful stories, right? And you can't help but feel something. It could be sadness, it could be happiness, it could be all kinds of different emotions. But you cannot help feel something when you actually listen to some of these stories.
Mm-hmm. I think the feeling that is sort of the pervading one is connection. You see. You feel connection to the people writing the stories. You also get a sense, at least I get a strong sense, that this kindness is everywhere, and it's the same across the globe. It's no different. Kindness in India doesn't look different than kindness in China or Canada or Switzerland. Right. It's all the same, right? And so that helps us understand that we're all connected.
The way I see it is really also it's this filtered kind of social platform, right? Where, if you would just say it's a social platform, we would probably say, well, another one, we have enough already. But what is great about it is that you go there and you know that you're going to, spend some time there and feel good. Where part of the reasons, and actually the first name I came up with for gentle marketing was anxiety-free marketing, because I really felt like marketing was part of the things that create anxiety and that, grow our anxiety, and social media was part of that. You go to Facebook and all of a sudden you feel more anxiety than before. Where actually the initial idea of these social platforms was connection, but unfortunately that's no longer so much the case, or not only. And so having this filter where it's positive, kind of like only the kind messages. Filtered.
Yeah, and it's a place free from consumerism too, right? There's not that sense that, there's not that you must buy something here.
No, there's no call to action.
And there's no ads and that kind of thing. So it's a safe space too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I, as a team, we've deliberately made it that way, and we intend on keeping it that way as well. We want it as a safe space. We're making some changes, and we've got plans for things that we want to do, but philosophically, there's certain tenets that we all agree to, and that is one of them. We want it to be a safe place for everybody to come on and celebrate acts of kindness and generosity, and we will continue. We'll do everything we can to protect that as we go forth.
I think, it wouldn't feel good to come there and all of a sudden see all these kindness products and kindness coaches promote their services or whatever,
Right.
I think that would not feel good. And so I like what you're saying. It needs to be protected because in a way, maybe we can talk about that. Like, isn't there a risk of commercializing kindness, make it into this thing that now we have to all be kind? Like, people actually kind of commented on that in marketing as well. Well, is that now what sells? Like, there used to be this buzz about authentic marketing, authenticity. And so everybody started to kind of, prescribe to authenticity. Oh, that's what sells now. So let me be authentic and let me share all these vulnerable stories like Brene Brown did. And it became this thing that people use to sell more. So what do you think about that with kindness? Is that a risk?
Yeah, there's definitely a push going that way right now. If you actually start reading over the last 6 to 9 months, there's been a lot of articles from Forbes and Inc. and other, entrepreneurial type magazines or business magazines that are talking about using kindness to do just that, to enhance your marketing. However, their view of kindness is slightly different from ours, or maybe I can say that the other way around, but they're talking about kindness in a customer service way. So they're talking about using, enhancing your customer service and promoting kindness amongst your staff, so that rolls over into the relationship they have with their clients. It's not the only way, but that's one of the ways they're talking about. And I would argue, I've been in business a long time. I've got 25 years plus. So I would argue that's something that should have been done a long time ago, especially in retail and customer service organizations. The people coming through your door, if you're a retailer or even if you're a service provider, like an accountant or something like that, you should be kind to your clients in one way or another. Sometimes there are situations where you can't be, or it's taken the wrong way, but generally speaking, that's the way it should be. We view kindness a little, we're promoting kindness in a different way. We're talking about it as interpersonal type of relationship or event, if I can put it that way, between people who in essence don't really have a prior existing relationship, or it's a tenuous one at best. And so, we're looking at it a little bit more globally. We're a little bit more impactful within a community. And we talk about, building a community and community resilience in the application and the website and so on. And that's something we're very aware of as we try and move forward with these things. So, we have designs for new things that we're talking about, but they'll all be around community, building community in some way. And it could be as small as, a sports team or, something like that, or it could be on a much more global basis, right? It could be related to a particular topic like healthcare, or it could be much broader than that. And so, I would say the whole issue around commercializing kindness, we've had a lot of feedback around that. And, commercializing kindness is not just in the concept, but it's in terms of conversations around financing and money and all the rest of that as well, right? No one wants to pay for kindness or to see kindness. And that's been uber clear, super clear in the conversations we've had with all of our constituents and stakeholders. So I would say, yes, there is a concern about commercializing kindness in that way. But as a team, as a group of people, we're doing everything we can to focus on the more altruistic viewpoint of that or perspective of that, and try and make it different from the way that a marketer or somebody else might look at it.
Right. I would be interested to hear from you, Karen, in terms of community. You on your site, you also talk about really like creating social change and bringing this beyond, just the client relationships. So talk to me about the social change. What are you hoping beyond, obviously, the obvious? Yes, let's be kind. The consequences of that.
Well, so some of the conversations we've been playing with, we've been asking a lot of what if questions, right? So there are concerns in the world around police brutality and violence. So what if every morning as a police officer, before you started your shift, you spent 5 minutes reading stories of acts of kindness? How would that change your view of the people that you're going out to, your community? Right? How would your perspective shift if you did that? Or, I don't know, doctors. There are people, I hear the stories a lot where, the doctors, nobody's calling to question the doctor's competence or ability, but everyone has a story about the doctor being cold, say, right? Not really present with you, the person, really more interested in, whatever organ or complaint you've showed up with. So you become your complaint, not the individual. What if that person spent 5 minutes before they start their shift reading stories of acts of kindness? How might that change? Or let's think about politicians. There's a fun topic. What if they spent 5 minutes a day thinking about, reading about, maybe even posting about acts of kindness? What if we judged our politicians, among other things, policy ideas and everything else, but also on how kind they were, not on how mean they can speak about the other person? What if our sense of how we judge someone was on a measure of kindness somehow? What if we measured businesses on their ability to be truly kind, not like, we say we're kind, but to truly do acts of kindness for their customers? What if there was some sort of scale where you could do that, right? And you could look at businesses and judge them in that way? How might that change how we approach the world? How might that change how we approach, problems like homelessness or problems like drug addiction, right? If we put a lens of kindness on it, we might come up with different solutions. We might approach solutions in a different way. And I think that fundamentally, if we go a level deeper from making us all just feel a little better for a little while, which is not a bad goal in itself, but if we go a little deeper, I think that, that lens of kindness applied to these sorts of things.
I love that. And I think what I would add is you're talking a lot about kindness between, humans and people. I would add the third element, which is planet. So
yes,
let's hear the politicians be kind to our planet. Let's hear companies be kind to our planet. And
right. And would it change, a politician's view of climate change if they looked at see kindness for? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the data or the science for that yet. But I suspect that if you started every day with a lens of kindness towards things and people and life, that you might be less inclined to deny the science, for instance, or that you might be less inclined to ignore the warning and just blow it off, doesn't really matter, you might sort of take it a little more seriously, because you might think, wow, that's an unkind thing. Your own sort of vibe might be like, whoa, that's just a little unkind. Maybe I need to check in. Maybe that's, heck, if something can change, if there is a force on earth that can change our trajectory, it is kindness. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah. Tim, anything you want to add?
No, Karen did a really good job there. We have altruistic goals. We have very lofty goals, shall I say? And we're not, as a team, we're not immune to the fact that we live in a practical world. So what we're trying to do is bridge those two worlds, if I can put it that way, right? There are, taking what Karen was saying about politicians. They're really only going to do that, and I would say that for larger businesses as well. They're only really going to do that if they see a benefit for it. Mm-hmm. And so one of our mandates is to try and bridge that gap, is to try and make it so that it is important to them, not only from a personal perspective, because when you talk to everybody we've talked to, let's put it that way, knows that there's a personal benefit to being kind, but whether that translate into the real world, if I can put it that, quote unquote, it's another thing. And so what we're trying to do is bridge that gap and make it so that there is a benefit to it. There's a practical benefit to it. And in that way, that's how we can reach those lofty and altruistic goals that we have set out. So we can make it beneficial for an individual, for a group, for society, globally, and then, as you say, which is an interesting take on it, and for the world itself, which I take to mean more of a sort of a climate change kind of thing. But we're doing what we can to keep the idea alive of what kindness is, but also bridge that gap and make it something that becomes very, very practical as well.
I love that. It's that left brain, right brain approach where I was being challenged as well. It's like, well, that's all nice, to be gentle in marketing, but we need it to work. We need proof that it works, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I'm saying in the book is like, well, for myself, I don't have proof yet because I'm literally just starting over, but I see the kind marketers that I look up to. They are doing way better than some of the hustle and hype marketers because they built a sustainable business. Mm-hmm. And so that's what it comes down to is like, you need to find a way to say, this actually works better. Being kind actually gets you better business results than being not kind, right? So that's
absolutely
heading.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
it's not just business results, it's political results, it's societal results, it's all those things we've talked about, right? It's people are everybody we've talked to loves the idea of kindness. Everybody. There has not been one person.
It's nice to have almost.
Yeah, they view it that way, or they don't see the practicality of being kind in whatever world they're in, right? And so Karen's done a great amount of user research. I've been talking to some businesses and trying to suss out how they would use it internally. And like I said, everybody loves the idea, and now it's become very clear that we have to do the work to bridge it and make it practical in the world. So
Yeah, I love that. So you call yourself a social enterprise on the website, and you and I, Karen, had some conversation around that. And I'm like, well, actually, do we still need to say that specifically? Aren't we heading towards all being social enterprises? So what does it mean to you, the term social enterprise?
Karen, do you want to tackle that, or?
Sure. I mean, I think that. First of all, I completely agree with you, Sarah. Like, why shouldn't we all just be social enterprises? But the truth is that for a lot of good reasons, business models have evolved to not take into account the social impact. They haven't evolved to think about doing good, and that's. That's changing. We see it all around us. That's starting to shift. People are starting to think that way. And maybe eventually we don't need to say we're a social enterprise. Maybe just everybody will be one day. But right now,
Right.
We are a for-profit business, but our goal is, like I said before, underlying goal is social change and to bring more kindness into the world. So, and that's that's a social good. So our goal is a social good, bring more kindness into the world. But we're a for-profit enterprise, right? We apart from the fact that setting up a nonprofit is more complicated than we need to take on right now as a small startup. But beyond that, I think that, having a sustainable business model where we're making money, paying people, keeping the lights on, is also a laudable goal. Like, yes, that's a good thing to do. And so let's make it a social enterprise.
Yeah, I would add to that, if I can, that philosophically, as a team, as a management team, we are very focused and more increasingly so. We've been talking more and more about this, about doing acts of kindness ourselves as an organization. And so what that looks like, I don't know yet. We're still, having those sessions internally, but there's certainly, in my view, there will be a outreach effort made by us as an organization to, I don't want to say invoke or enhance, but somehow embellish acts of kindness that we see going out there. And again, we're open to all kinds of ideas and suggestions. We're having intense conversations about this internally right now, but there will be some kind of outreach endeavor or effort on our behalf to sort of enhance that, because, when we say for profit, it's really only to keep the lights on and so on. We've been paying for this internally, and we can only do that so long. So we have to make a little bit of money to make this happen. But as we, the problem is, it's not a problem, but our philosophically, we know that we cannot commercialize kindness. So those are the conversations we're having right now. It's, we're in a bit of a paradox. We're a little bit unusual to how pretty much any other organization would operate, just because of that parameter. And we'll solve it. We'll keep on going. We're committed to doing that, and we'll solve that problem in 2021.
I'm curious, Tim, when you had these conversations with the companies where you were trying to sell them, quotation marks, sell them this idea of using kindness in their business, like how did they react, and what were some ideas that came up how they were going to integrate kindness into their business?
Well, first of all, I wasn't trying to sell them anything. It was purely research, because we're not really ready to sell them on, we were just explaining some of the ideas that we had for 2021 and trying to engage with them and see if they thought they were good ideas or not. And ask those very questions on how they would use them inside their organization. So, for instance, there were different streams of conversation, but one of them was around R&R, rewards and recognition, or employee engagement, whatever you want to call it, where they can make their staff feel better, so they can reward acts of kindness. So we're talking to, let's say it's a financial institution or a retailer. Somebody does something really nice for a client or for another person within the organization, it would be nice to reward them. And so, we've got, I don't know, let's say a couple of handfuls of ideas that we've talked to them about, and we're skinning it down now based on the feedback. It was really worthwhile to have those conversations. And so, employee recognition is one that seems to percolate, and people get it really, really quickly. And we'll continue investigating those. We're not in a position to start talking about our goals that they're quite yet, because we really don't know what they are right now. We're still trying to finalize that, but that's going to happen very quickly. I would say within a month or so, 4 to 6 weeks from now. So by the end of February 2021, we're going to be in a really good position. We've got changes coming to our environment right now, our tool set, that will allow us to make changes very quickly as well.
I want to ask you, Karen, how do you see the future of business evolving? How do you see kindness being integrated more and more?
It kind of goes to that idea of, why aren't we all just a social enterprise?
Yeah.
I have been on a bit of a personal journey as well, and speaking to a lot of people in the user experience design and product management space and the digital app space about what they do. And even like 3 years ago, I started hearing a lot about this missing of connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we've seen a lot of businesses over the last 2 decades really get very big and very homogenized, right? And almost cutting out that connection that they had. You know, you look at big book publishers, for instance, you know, they're putting out these big blockbuster bestsellers, but they can't tell you what people in Vancouver like to read anymore, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this sort of centralization, big companies. And I think, you know, and lately I've been reading a lot of stories about how those aren't necessarily breaking up, but new small ideas that are really focused on connection are breaking away from that. And so I think that if you're looking at that and we're thinking about kindness at the same time, I think we're starting to see sort of a desire to reconnect. And one of the ways that we reconnect with ourselves, with each other, with our society, with the earth, is through kindness, right? We connect that way. That's how we show a stranger we're okay with you, by doing something kind for them, right? So I think that largely the smart businesses are already moving that direction. And I think that generally speaking, we're going to start to see more of a trend in that way where we look for connection and we look for opportunities to make connection, real authentic connection, not just a feel-good brand moment, but something a lot deeper than that.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I if I can add, the world is obviously going through a severe economic disruption right now. You know, with COVID, you know, it's no surprise to say that, you know, there is a lot of impact going on economically as well as with climate change. There are many things that are being impacted right now because of COVID, and my personal view is that it is forcing a reset. It's forcing a rethink on how people affected by COVID are going to adapt, and that's the key word. This is going to be an issue of adaptation. People are going to have to adapt. Businesses are going to have to adapt. You know, some businesses are doing very poorly right now. Excuse me, in the tourism industry. You know, there are other industries that are being severely. Retailers are being very badly impacted, and some are doing quite well. And so this is forcing a rethink on how people and people, you know, that is the population, society in general. Most people are not doing well out of this. Whether it's emotional or financially, they're just not doing as well as they were even a year ago. And so there is going to be an adaptation process for people who want to promote these people. And part of that is going to have to be this idea of recognizing that there's more stress in the world. There's more stress at a personal level. And just as you were saying earlier, Sarah, that, you know, just pushing your marketing message out to people is just not going to work in the same way as it used to. And so we have to be more mindful, more emotionally connected, more empathetic to how our so-called target segments are going to adapt to the message that we're pushing out there as a business.
Yeah, I think yeah, both of you are so spot on. I think the connection, obviously, to me, I really, my website says bring the human connection back to marketing. So yeah, that's exactly it on every level, right? Whether it is marketing, whether it is leadership or business in general, I think connection is the key. And then what you said, Tim, as well, it's about adapting. And I think this is probably a good place to come full circle. It's really this continued focus on the positive, because 2021, you know, it's not going to be an easy year. We're all happy right now. We're recording this on January 8th. We're all happy that we made it through 2020, but that's very pragmatic, you know, kind of practical. 2021 is not going to be easy. And so having this focus on the positive, on kindness, I think that's the way forward, because we're in this shift and the only way forward is through. And so we just need to ground ourselves with kindness. And I just love that we're having this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love how you framed it as ground yourself with kindness, because I truly, that's exactly the feeling of it. You ground yourself with kindness, and that will, you know, the bad stuff will keep happening. We still got stuff to get through.
Yeah.
That's not going to go away suddenly with everybody being kind,
No.
but it's going to make it a heck of a lot more tolerable.
Exactly.
If you are grounded in kindness.
Wonderful. This has been delightful. Thank you so much for taking the time coming on. Please share again with people where they can go post their acts of kindness, because this whole week, as you know, I'm releasing this during the Random Acts of Kindness week. And so it'll be a great way to go and post your random acts of kindness. Please share again where they can find you.
So the website, the web app is at seekindness.org. So it's SEE kindness.org. And we'd love to have anybody who's listening to come by and visit us. It's Kindness Week is in February, so this will be a few weeks after we've had this conversation. But the site we're hoping to have big changes coming on, actually probably around that time. So,
and I want to, before we sign off, I just want to make sure we do a quick shout out to Leah Newscart, Aaron Dobson, and Matt Lynch, who have been working so hard with us on this project, just doing all of the things, and our amazing team. And I just want to, before we sign off, just want to make sure that we've acknowledged them.
Say hello to them.
And say hello to them, because they're awesome, and we could not have gotten this far without them. So let's be clear about that. And we're on social media. If you just search for See Kindness on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, you'll also find us there with links back to the website.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Karen and Tim. This has been delightful. Thanks.
It has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
It has. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for putting this together and having us on.
Well, take care.
Best of luck. Bye-bye.
I really hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as we enjoyed recording it. Please check out their website at seekindness.org, and then go and post your acts of kindness. I'll give you some pointers on and some ideas in a minute, so stay tuned. I have 4 more things to share with you before you leave. So the first thing is the pitch here. This episode is sponsored by the Gentle Marketing Revolution book that's coming out this week. As I mentioned, I think before, I decided to launch during this Random Acts of Kindness week and really make kindness the focus. So if anything you hear during this week, or really during these past 1.5 years that resonates with you, I'd love for you to go and get the book over at Amazon.com, or you can also go onto my site, thegentlemarketingrevolution.com/book. Every day this week, I'm also sharing 2 random acts of kindness that you could try out. Those ideas come from the randomactsofkindness.org Workplace Calendar 2021, which you can find on the randomactsofkindness.org website. It has a calendar to download. It has quotes to download. It has so many amazing resources. And again, that's where I took these ideas from. And then later this week, I'll also be interviewing Brooke Jones from the randomactsofkindness.org team. It's a foundation. And so she is part of that foundation. And I'll be interviewing her on different questions around kindness and kindness in the workplace, especially, and in business. So again, you can find this calendar, and it has really 1 random act of kindness for each day. And it's an amazing calendar that I highly recommend. randomactsofkindness.org is the website. And so today's RAKs, Random Acts of Kindness, are: first, learn about your name and more about your history and roots. So that's one idea. And the second idea, or random act of kindness invitation, is be kind with your words. You never know what someone is dealing with in their life. Okay, moving on to the third thing I wanted to let you know before you leave. and that is that you're invited to join us for the book birthing party together on Zoom. And this is happening tomorrow on Wednesday, February 17th. So that's the official Random Acts of Kindness Day. And we'll be recording this episode live on Zoom, and my friend Kat Rose will be interviewing me about gentle marketing and the book. So you can check the link in the show notes at sarahsandacroce.com/GBR75. Or you can also just go straight to sarahsandacroce.com/party, and you'll find the sign up page there. You do need to sign up so that I can send you your Zoom link. And I'll also give you the information on the time in your time zone. It is going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern, so EST, and 5 p.m. European Central Time. But in order to find out all the different time zones, just go on that link, sarahsandacroce.com/party. Finally, the last thing, and I hinted at it at the beginning of this recording, is the Gentle Business Circle membership giveaway. So in order to apply for the free year-long circle, I would like to invite you to leave me a voice message at sarahsandacroce.com/ask and tell me why you'd like to join the circle and why you would like to be considered. And I'm giving away one free membership each day, and the first message is the one that gets selected and wins this membership. So don't forget to also leave me your name and email so that I can actually contact you. I look forward to hearing your message. Thanks so much for tuning in today. You'll find the show notes with all the links at sarahsandacroce.com/GBR75. And again, I'd love to see you tomorrow for the official book birthing party. And you can sign up for that at sarahsandacroce.com/party. See you then. And in the meantime, let's be the change we want to see in the world. Speak soon.